Well, hey everybody, my name's Trigby. I'm one of the folks here at BusyWeb. I'm going to be your presenter today. You're a couple of minutes early, but I thank you for starting a little bit early. If you can hear me, if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat pane that you can hear everything just fine, that'd be great. That would help me make sure that I've got all my levels right. Looks like we've got our people who are in already. Yes, Christine, cool. And looks like Tony's here too. Excellent. Christine, where are you dialing in from today? South Minneapolis. Excellent. Sometimes it's a little farther. Are you buried in snow like everybody else is? Oh yeah, she says. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect. Let me make sure that I share. And can everybody see my screen there? Figure out my volume. No, you're fine. Just want to make sure that I am speaking clearly. And can everybody see my screen? Yes, screen, no screen. Yep. And if you're just rolling in, I'm going to get started in about a minute. I think Savannah from Indiana is here. Hi. And yeah. So my name's Trigby. I'm the director of business development here at BusyWeb. I'm going to get started about 2 minutes after the hour. But thank you all for coming, especially if you're in Minnesota where we're based. We had about a foot of snow or a couple inches of snow last night, depending upon where you are. So I had to get up this morning and do a foot of snow on my driveway. Then I'm going to have to do it again when the plow comes by in a few hours. So I am going to be monitoring the Q&A. So if you've got questions as it comes up, feel free and put them in. I will do my very best to make sure that I answer them as well as I can. And we're going to have some fun today. We're going to talk about one of my favorite tools that HubSpot has released recently. It's called the Content Remix. It's how to build content quicker using AI tools and your brand voice. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think I'm ready. If somebody could put in the chat pane just that you can see the screen and not me, that'd be perfect because that's how I think I've got it. But I want to make sure before I get started so you guys aren't wondering why I'm talking about things that aren't actually there. Sarah says, yep, we can see all good, perfect. And all right, so I am going to go ahead and get started. Looks like I am recording, so it's perfect. My name is Trygve Olson. I'm the Director of Business Development here at BusyWeb. And this is our monthly webinar that we've been doing for going on 15 years now. Today, we're going to be talking about AI Content Remix, which is a tool that's available for HubSpot subscribers. It's a fantastic tool and one that can really help speed up and make more use of your assets as you're developing them. So, as I said before, I'm monitoring the Q&A, and I am going to be looking for a volunteer. So if somebody wants to come off mute a little later, I will actually demo this tool live so you can actually see and participate. It'll be my gift to you for listening to me, as I will actually give you some content that you can post based on your website. So thanks for joining me. Let's go ahead and get started. So, traditional content methods on the whole right now are failing. They are very time consuming to think about what you are going to write about and how you are going to do it and what you are going to say. This has been a age-old problem in the digital marketing world where a lot of people had that backlash from social media in 2008 and 2009 when they said, gosh, I don't want to be on Twitter because who really wants to know what I had for breakfast this morning? And now we're at a world where content is really driving a good portion of your marketing because it helps not only for new customer acquisition and to show a competitive advantage, but also how you're found in AI, in socials, as well as search engine optimization. So as a result of that, content is now incredibly resource intensive. Figuring out writers, designers, making sure that it's optimized all for the good is very difficult. And depending upon your writer, it could be inconsistent. Sometimes people have a really great idea and they can write something that they're very passionate about. Sometimes it is a slog. I can tell you from experience, I wrote player profiles for the Minnesota Timberwolves for 20 years, and it's really easy to write 250 words on Charles Barkley. It was really hard to write about a first round draft pick who's ninth off the bench and averaging 4 points. So at the end of the day, as you are thinking of your marketing effort, any good marketing effort in this day and age is going to require a considerable amount of content in order to make it work. So traditional methods of content, it's time consuming and expensive. And so there is a better way. Now, if you've ever used some of those ways before, sometimes it's a bit of a challenge because sometimes ChatGPT in its first iteration tended to make stuff up and it wasn't actually helpful. So as ChatGPT and all the other different AI language learning models have gotten considerably better, and we're going to actually show you one of those today. So once again, my name is Trygve with BusyWeb. We are a full service and full spectrum growth marketing agency. We specialize in inbound marketing, CRM and sales enablement, and then advertising to help our clients grow. A lot of times we like to work in conjunction with them to help them deliver on their tactics or their own strategic marketing efforts. And so we are also an authentic brand ally, and also we have another website that we are rolling up if you're a fractional marketer at fractionaltactical.com to take a look at. So here's what we're going to be talking about today. This is a tool that's based within the Content Hub of HubSpot. The Content Hub is HubSpot's version of their website designer. So yes, you can actually have your website built in HubSpot, and we actually really like it because it does a lot of things differently. The nice thing about a WordPress site is you can make it be just about anything. The challenge with a WordPress site is that it's typically very hard to maintain and also very hard to use after the fact. So HubSpot has developed what we think is a really amazing tool, but in addition to that, they have two additional tools that go along with what they call their Content Hub. One is a podcasting host opportunity where you can actually host your podcast in HubSpot, and you can actually use that to record and then build out from there. But the one that we really like here at BusyWeb is called Content Remix. And so what that does is there's a couple of different versions of it, and I'm going to go through most of them today so you can get some examples of it. It's really a one-stop option to take one particular asset of content, so a social post, an idea, a video, anything like that, and turn it into anything else. So you can turn it into another blog, social media posts, a landing page, anything like that. So the nice thing about this is it's speedy. It allows you to build things quicker, and then you are not having to create as much as you are editing. So it allows you to scale your reach quicker. It allows you to create more content, and it allows you to target it more consistently. And because you're using the same writer who you're consistently telling what's wrong with it, it's going to get better and better and better the more you go along. So how does this work? Because if you're anything like me, one of the things that I am often challenged when I work with AI robots is it's that same thing when I was writing back for the Timberwolves. A blank page is often very scary. Similarly, now with an AI robot, a blinking light is also very scary. So how does this actually work, and how do you go through it? So there's 4 different stages of this, and it's I'm sharing with you this because I want you to feel good about this, and this is an easy thing to be able to do. So you start by creating templates, putting in your brand, your colors, your logo, anything like that. Set up your content types. If you have Marketing Pro, you can connect the dots on those. And then the second thing is simply identifying the content you want to remix. So if you've got a website, you can pull a URL in and make it live and then turn it into many other things. You press a button, and I'll actually demonstrate this a little later, and it will remix contents into various formats, up to and including making an actual physical real life podcast. So you can make an AI podcast using the content remix tool. And then finally is just click a button to distribute. So at the end of the day, it's very easy to do, very easy to build. So what are the ones that we're using that we really like here at BusyWeb? Creating blog posts. You can use it to ideate what are you going to build and how are you going to build it. If you are trying to figure out what kind of advertising you can do, you can use AI to actually write your ad content for you. One of the things that I like a lot is taking a blog post and then amplifying it, not only in sharing it with your social media networks, but actually taking that content and turning it into 1, 2, 4, 5, or 6 things. And then lastly, I think the one that I'm pretty excited about is a podcast. Hopefully by now you know that we have our own podcast here at BusyWeb. It's called Dial It In, of which I'm one of the co-hosts of, which is great, but it's very time consuming. So the thing to keep in mind when you hear me talking about podcasts is you don't necessarily have to create a show from scratch. What you can do is you can create a show to develop your further content. And I'll show you exactly how I did that. So what you can essentially do as a result of this is use podcasting as another way to develop your develop a content channel. So on my actual podcast, we had a guy on who was the head of marketing for a large international company. He had developed an internal podcast to share company announcements with the internal companies because a good majority of his workforce was out in the field. So they're not really going to read emails, but they were able to listen to podcasts. So it was another way to provide that same information for him as well. So I know this all seems fun and good and enjoyable, but you probably want to see how it actually works. So I'm going to show you some screenshots on how to do it. And then, as I said, I'm going to bring somebody on as a volunteer, and hopefully we'll be able to pull this off, and I'll be able to actually show you how this works in real time and give some of you some content that you can take going forward. So once you get into it, as you can see, you can add in anything you like there. You can say, in this particular instance, we started with a video, then turned it into an email, a different video, and then a social post as well. How do we actually do this? Well, here's an example that I did. Here's a blog post that our talented writers at BusyWeb wrote recently. It's called From Data to Decisions, Leveraging AI in Digital Marketing Strategies. And it's a great article and it's long. So how is everybody going to sit down and read that article? Maybe yes, maybe no, but the value of Content Remix gives me the opportunity to turn it into more specific bite-sized pieces, things that people can ingest quickly in hopes that they will then turn around and read the larger article. So as you can see here, I click on File, and then I just click on New, and then it takes me to this. Here are all my choices and all the different things that I can do in order to turn this into other things. So I can create a freeform prompt using AI. I can create an audio file so that it will just turn all of the files into an audio file. I can create images based on the document. I can turn it into email marketing or even a series of texts. I can turn it into ad copy, write a new blog, turn it into a landing page, or even include it into a podcast. So in this particular instance, I said, I want an audio file, I want an email, I want to do advertising with it, and then also create a podcast episode, and then 2 social posts. I click next, and then I wait for a minute, and ding, 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 and then it all pops up there. So you can see I've got an audio file, I've got an email, I've got social media posts, I've got two of those, and then I've got some ad copy as well as a podcast. Now, it threw an error for the podcast because I hadn't set up the podcast thing correctly, but I've since changed that. I can actually show that to you. So, with any AI, obviously, you don't want to just post it and let it rip. You want to read it and make sure that it is has everything that you want in it and it says it's correctly. Especially if you deal with a business that is exacting, you want to make sure that it's not claiming anything factual that is incorrect. I think the classic example of a poor use of AI was there was a guy named Michael Cohen who used to be Donald Trump's lawyer, who was embroiled in a case of his own for his own criminal element. He was issues, and he was helping his legal team, and he turned in a brief to the court that includes several citations. One of the citations that was included in his briefs, in order to get him out of jail, was the landmark case of finders versus keepers. And that's not an actual case, that's an actual joke that somebody put on the internet that his AI robot picked up and thought was a real thing. So if he had actually read through it, realized, hey, finders versus keepers isn't an actual case, he probably wouldn't have been embarrassed like he was. So the neat thing about HubSpot is once I have all of this developed, that I can then turn around and do some stuff with it as I can actually post it. If you've got the marketing tools to be able to post it, in this particular instance, I said, okay, I just want to add it to Facebook. You can see it even has some tokens in there, so I make it a little bit better. I can see what it looks like, and then add it to a post. So the thing that I really like is the podcast. If everybody's got a podcast right now, and I think your company really should have a podcast, not necessarily because you have to actually do something with it or create a show or an entertainment value show. Like mine's an entertainment show. We have interviews, we have people on, we try and give people opportunities to learn interesting things. That takes a considerable amount of time. But if you have a podcast show where you are using it as a channel to share the information that you're already making through your blogging, then all of a sudden you've really got something. Or if, like I said, if you've got an internal force that is out in the field a lot, you want to be able to communicate to them, having a podcast that they can subscribe to is another great way of using that tool. And the good news is it's right at your fingertips. So in doing so is very easy. You just add in your brand information. You can start and name your show, name what your podcast is and what the topic is. And then you can even include some files about your business and it will automatically create it. You can see here, based on the example that I put in of that blog post from earlier, it actually showed here's 3 or 4 different options to name my podcast episode. And you can see right down in here, you can see this little star here. That's another AI prompt that if I don't like those titles, I can add those in, and I can change those into something else. So when you use that podcast AI technology in order to create the podcast, what it'll first do is it'll set up an outline, basically of what the script looks like. So you can see here, there's an introduction. It turns it into some conversational things. Whoops. And then what are the things that you want to talk about? And then it usually summarizes at the end. And then all you do is click generate episode, and then you'll wait here for a minute or two, and you'll go, boy, that's taking longer than it should. Does it really work? And then it does. So, whoops. So, does everybody still see that? Can you put in the chat pane that you still see that? I had a bit of a technological issue on my end. So all that being said, I thought this would be much more interesting if I really showed it to you in real time. So I know that as I'm recording this, I have a number of people who are online. Do I have somebody who'd be willing to come off mute and participate with me, and we can create some digital assets using the tool, and so you can see what it's like. More than happy to help. and more than happy to use this and I'll even put all the assets into an email and send them to you so that if you participate, you can actually make some use out of the technology that we're creating. Love a volunteer if I've got one, but if that not, that's okay. So if you're interested in doing so, I'd be more than happy to show it to you in further steps. But it's a very easy tool. The nice thing about this is, as if you're considering or you're unhappy with your website on the whole, and you want to move it to a more stable platform, this is a great platform in which to do it. The cost is higher than typical website hosting, but the value in presenting something like this is considerably higher because it does make your life easier and makes your life quicker, which is something that we're just a big giant fanatic about, and we really love it here. So, love it if somebody wanted to come off mute, but in the meantime, any questions that I can answer for you if you're listening live, I'd love to talk with somebody and bring them off mute if they have some questions about how this technology works or what they could potentially do with it. I'm just a super fan, which is why I got the opportunity to talk about it today. All right. Well, it doesn't look like I've got many takers for questions, but I will give you my contact information after the fact, that if you are interested in learning a little bit more about this or seeing if this is something that you can get, or if you don't see it as part of your HubSpot package and you've been working with us before, I'd be more than happy to work with you and make sure that we can make it live for you. So, like I said, if you're interested, let me know. You can reach me afterwards. I'd be more than happy to show you how this works on a one-to-one basis. And again, as a thank you for your time, I'd be more than happy to just even give you all the assets that it creates as I do this for you. So thanks again. It's a relatively short show because really we're trying to do something a little different today and just demonstrate one thing and show the value proposition for it. So I appreciate you listening so far and listening in with me and going along with this. I'd love to show it to you because I'm a huge fan of this. I've taken a number of BusyWeb blogs and turned it into a number of different podcasts that I have on our demo account. So I just love this a whole lot. So love to talk to you further. You can reach me at my information on screen here. If you're a fractional marketing officer, we'd love to hear from you as well. And you can click on the, or you can scan the QR code to take it to the next level. So that's all I've got. I will hang on for a minute for questions, but thank you everybody for joining us today. And we'd love to be a partner with you moving forward. But if you want to learn a little bit more about this technology, we're happy to show you because it is cool. So thanks everybody. We will see you next month for our next busy webinar, which will be the first Wednesday in April. Anybody got any questions that I can answer for you? All right. Well, you've got my contact information. I'd love to hear from you and see what we can do to be of service.